Welcome to the Code with Jason meetup. Here's what we're going to be working on today. I'll share my screen. So we're going to work on SaturnCI as we often do, and I have some exciting announcements regarding this product. I mean, exciting to me. To anybody else, I don't know. Um, but as I've shared, I recently finished my book, Professional Rails Testing, and it's out there on Amazon for sale. Um, it has 4 5-star reviews. Um, so there's at least 4 people out there who like it.
I saw a lot more people, other than myself, who are interested in it on the Reddit AMA kind of thing that you put up there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've of course been following that. Um, okay, yeah, anyway, dear viewer, there's this book that I wrote. Anyway, now that that's finished, I asked myself like what do I want to do with my life now? Because I always am working on making some kind of career investment. Um, and I asked myself, like, do I want to write another book? Do I want to work on Saturn CI? What do I want to do? And I've decided Saturn CI is the thing. I decided to just put the pedal to the metal and and take a swing at making it into a real business. So I was gonna say this is day one, but it's not day one, but it's week 2 of that or something like that. Um, and so my question to myself now is like, what is the absolute bare minimum that needs to happen before I can get this into people's hands? And I think the answer might be nothing. It might be that there's nothing more that's needed feature-wise before people can start using it. Um, I do have some prospective customers. I had one guy try to use it and it didn't work. And we're going to have a call later this week to get to the bottom of that. So apparently the answer is not nothing because there's whatever that issue is. Um anyway, what we're going to work on today is putting instructions, writing instructions for people to use it. And I suppose I should say even what this thing is. SaturnCI is a continuous integration platform. Really, that's too grandiose of a title for what it is now. What it really is just a test runner. But I think CI is like a more well-established category. And if I say it's a CI server, people will understand that more clearly than if I just say it's a test runner. Okay. So the question is, if I gave this to you, James, and I said, here, try this out on one of your projects, your obvious question would be like, how?
I will get started.
Yeah. And so I'm jotting down at least just to get something out there, just a scratch version, a very rough first draft in the main project README. Um, And all of this seems obvious to me. I have a hard time putting myself in the shoes of someone who's not familiar with the product. And so part of what I want to do is maybe get you guys' feedback on parts that are unclear. Anyway, there's certain things that I know are unclear. I was about to explain something here, but then I realized rather than explaining it verbally, I should probably put it into the documentation. So I'm going to do that now and explain it as I go. Man, and I'm realizing so many things. I'm probably going to outgrow this single README file pretty quick. Um, I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to start an entirely new repo for the marketing slash documentation site. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Are you
Okay.
just going to have like uh, markdown files and view it through the GitHub interface, or are you going to like compile it somehow, like Yard or MKDocs, or what were your thoughts there?
That's a really good question. I think something more like the latter, something compiled but static. And I want to go as
Yeah.
lightweight as possible.
Yeah, I have an example of a MKDocs repo that I did. I don't know if it's active. Maybe not.
All right, so I'm graduating to a multi-repository project. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I recently moved the SaturnCI repo from my personal GitHub to a new organization called SaturnCI. So I think I'm going to make my personal directory structure match that. So make dir SaturnCI. It's not spelled like that. There we go. Nope. Okay, and then I'm going to move the Saturn folder to Saturn CI. Okay, so now I have Saturn CI slash Saturn CI, which matches my GitHub organization and repo. So now I'm going to create a new repo called what? This is for my marketing site. Maybe I'll just call it marketing site. Can always change my mind later. Although it's not exactly just the marketing site, it's like the documentation site too. I know, website. Okay, so let's open up the README and then I'm going to create a new file called setup.html. Okay, and then I'll do open setup.html. All right, that doesn't look very good, obviously. Okay,
Boom.
you know what? I'm going to call this index, and I'm going to make this into a repo. Okay, and then in my GitHub organization, I'm going to make a new repo for this website project. Okay, this is SaturnCI.com. Create repository. Push from an existing repository. Okay, and there we have it. And now, in the spirit of continuous delivery and all that stuff, I'm gonna deploy it to production, even though there's hardly anything to it. And how do I do that? I already have a Kubernetes infrastructure set up for my other project. Um, and I feel inclined to use the same infrastructure.
You can publish it right on GitHub,
Oh yeah.
and and GitHub will host it. I can show you an example that I did with MK Docs where you author everything in a mostly markdown kind of a language and it compiles it and throws it up. I've got a complete project that gives an example of that if you're interested.
I've actually done this before. It's how Sin City Ruby is hosted. Um, so yeah,
This
maybe I should
example
just
I
try
have
that.
has the whole like workflow, GitHub Actions workflow. So you might want to update that to Saturn CI at some point. But let me send you what I have in the chat. Feel free to take it or leave it.
Okay.
So this is just a repo I have for my personal notes, and in the README on this repo, there's my notes hosted on GitHub pages. So basically, when you make changes, there's a workflow that runs and it publishes the update here. And so I have a bunch of documents that I've taken notes on in the left nav there. So this is one MKDocs template, and you can go
Okay.
look at the. Did it click when you clicked on it?
Oh yeah, I opened it in a new tab.
Okay.
That's just because I was gonna look at it later or something. Um, okay. Yeah, so was there something in here on the GitHub pages stuff, or
Go
was this
back
just an
to the
example?
repo.
Okay.
It's on the yeah. So here, if you just scroll up, you can see the files and the structure of the project.
Got it.
All the documentation is in the docs directory. That's where everything gets authored. There's some, I think it's mkdocs.yaml at the top level is the mkdocs configuration that says how these things go together and defines the navigation.
Okay.
It's and then if you go to the GitHub Actions, it tells you uh, the commands that it runs to
Hmm.
do everything. And I think in the README at the bottom, there's a few commands that you can run locally. It's not that hard, of
Well, of course I have to use Saturn CI for this.
course. And I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Not really though, because it wouldn't be capable. At least not yet. Okay.
So this is just an example with a. So if you want your documentation roughly following this format, it'd be pretty easy to throw together and then host it right on GitHub,
Yeah.
and so that you don't have to pay any serving costs and manage all that.
I'll have ChatGPT walk me through this.
Yeah, there's just a configuration that you do, and then it serves everything from like a particular branch.
Okay, go
And
to
you
the
give it.
settings tab, pages, just search for it. I see classic pages experience. Okay. Yeah, and I do want to use a custom domain, but I don't have to do that yet, I suppose.
Yeah, and if you don't want to use MKDocs, you could use just Jekyll as your. I don't know what. I guess that's the. I don't know what Jekyll is. I think it's a alternative to MKDocs, but it's built
Okay.
right into GitHub.
I don't know where this is going to come out because, oh, fuck. Okay. So I put this at Jason Sweat slash website, not Saturn CI slash website. So I
Oopsies.
need to fix that. I don't know why I did what I did just now. Okay. Saturn CI. Okay, so I will go to here. Okay, so I guess if I do new repository from here, does it put it in the
Well, it always
context?
no, it always asks you. That's probably
Oh,
why you
okay.
messed it up because you probably were in SaturnCI,
Yeah,
but went here.
I never do this. Okay, let's see if this lets me override or not. Okay. Okay, now I'll go to settings and I'll go to pages, main, save. Okay. Yeah, saturnci.github.io/website. Okay.
I think it takes a moment for it to show up.
Yeah, that's my experience too.
Okay.
Okay. In the meantime, I will learn more about configuring custom domains.
I mean, that could be a thing down the line.
Yeah.
The reason why I went with MK Docs is it took a lot of the navigation and styling and stuff out of your hands, like
Okay.
off your plate. In other words, I guess is a better way to put it. Uh, and it had some pretty cool plugins um, for doing things like I'm not going to remember, but it has plugins that extends the functionality of Markdown.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Jekyll might have similar capabilities. My guess is that it's somewhere in the middle of writing HTML and an MKDocs experience.
Okay. Yeah, I've used Jekyll a little bit. All right. Well, looks like it's up now. So Saturn CI now has a website. So
Mhm.
that's great. Um, I want the website to be slightly less bad. So let's do this. Saturn CI. Saturn CI is a continuous integration tool for the Saturn programming language. Huh.
Oh man, just when you thought you were almost done, now you got to do a whole programming language.
Okay. There, that's all I'll say for the moment. Oh, and let's put a link to the docs.
In this scenario, what does it get republished when you do a push, I guess?
Oh, I'm sorry, what's that?
I was just uh, remembering how this works. So when you push this up to GitHub, then it would republish your uh,
Yeah.
whatever that .io website.
Yep, and I believe that'll take a few moments. Okay. So one of my kind of guiding principles for this whole thing is to have as few dependencies as possible because, well, dependencies just have such a cost. And over the years, they get out of date. And like, for Rails upgrades, like my experience has been that usually upgrading a Rails version isn't the most painful part of the process. It's all of the other libraries that you have to upgrade as a prerequisite or just have to upgrade to keep up with the times or whatever. Okay. I do want this like in a separate paragraph, so I'll do that. Okay, and then I go to the documentation and it looks like this. Um, and I
I
don't
wonder if
think
you
I,
just wrote this in Markdown instead of HTML. Maybe you have a good reason for doing HTML instead of Markdown. Wouldn't it just render it here?
yeah, I'm hesitant to write entire pages in Markdown because then I wouldn't have the flexibility of HTML.
Yeah, but Markdowns takes so long. I mean, sorry, HTML has its overhead too. Let's put it that way.
That's true. That was the only instance of that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that I don't want that.
But then you're gonna have to go and like wrap everything in paragraphs and
Yeah. And I definitely am eventually going to want some syntax highlighting and stuff. Okay. So what's the absolute simplest way that I can get this to look a little better?
change the extension to .md.
Ha! Okay, maybe I want the second simplest. What's the simplest way I can do that while still maintaining the ability to
Having
edit it in
all the world of
HTML?
HTML at your disposal. That's a good question. I don't know.
Um,
Ask ChatGPT. That's probably what I would do. Just give it the whole document.
yeah, but first I have to ask myself what I want to ask ChatGPT. Oh, there's something in
Is
the
always the
chat.
problem.
Markdown to HTML converter. Hmm. Yes, perhaps. Um, Call me crazy because people always say don't do this, but I think I want to code my own website builder. Um, Not completely from scratch, but maybe I want it to be a composition of various tools. Like, is there, for example, a standalone syntax highlighting tool that I can use? In the meantime, while we're waiting for ChatGPT to slowly load, I can add something. So I think I want something explaining like globally how the not ChatGPT, the Saturn CI setup works. Um, Saturn CI runs tests via Docker.
I don't know how Saturn CI works, but it's not strictly like it'll run anything, right?
With a little tweaking, in theory, it could, but it's definitely very specific to Rails and RSpec projects right now.
I see.
Hmm. And that's my plan for the indefinite future. Because I think one of the reasons why the GitHub Actions and CircleCI workflows are so painful is because they're so technology agnostic.
Hmm.
Whereas if I make it specifically for this one very specific set of technologies, I can make all kinds of assumptions and I can make the user's life a lot easier. Okay, so ChatGPT is here now. Um, um, the Rouge gem. Okay. Okay. Let's give this a try. Whoops.
Maybe we should just go look at that gem on Ruby Gems and its repository first to get a flavor as how used it is.
Good idea.
I've never heard of it. Okay, well, it looks like it has updates real recently, so that's good.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Rouge is Jekyll's default syntax highlighter. Interesting. Okay. Um, okay. Maybe I'll just do this for starters. Okay, so it outputs this. Um, oh, it gives it classes, but no styles. I'm sure there's an easy way to remedy that, though.
It should, like wherever you copied that code from, I bet it says.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not immediately seeing it.
But hold on, there was the thing that said CSS options. Scroll up a little.
Okay,
Uh, there was like
there's some other stuff.
a real short paragraph I saw that had a header that said CSS.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
I'm not sure how helpful that is.
Yeah, let's do this. How do I get the CSS? How do I get the CSS? Okay. Give it all to me in one file. Yeah. Render wrong number of arguments. Okay. Line 21. Hmm. Okay. Well, it sure looks like the right number of arguments. So that's a little bit surprising. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about that.
Like how ChatGPT said a lot of times is like, oh, you're right. It should be this way.
Yeah,
I'm like, what? Why didn't you just tell me that
right.
in the first place?
Okay. Well, it's at least a different error. Okay, looks like no errors that time. Okay, so Ramsey has this pigment demo, HTML, or no, let's do Ruby. Um, oh, okay, interesting. So you can try out some themes and see what you like. All right, so I'm going to output this to sample.html. I'm a little bit confused.
Maybe give it a little bit more code.
Um,
Just see if there are other things. Yeah, it looks like it should work, but or it should have some color somewhere.
okay, we have classes of A and NB inside of dot highlight, but it doesn't look like any of this is inside of dot highlight. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, interesting. And maybe instead of doing that on the whole body, we can just do this. Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
makes
even
sense.
free is what I should have done. There we go. Okay. But I think I want something with a white background. SAS. We'll take a look at just a few. Wow, there's a lot. All right. We'll
Probably
just,
like a lot of times default seems to be the one that gets the most tuning.
yeah. All right, let's do that.
I think this is super interesting and all, and I'm not minding doing it, but I think it's a little antithetical to what you said you wanted to do.
Which is what?
Write documentation.
Um, fair point. But what I see myself, what I see this is an investment, a small
Okay.
investment to be able to output slightly higher quality documentation. And the default theme is not recognized by Rouge. Okay. All right. So apparently there's not a perfect one-to-one match between whatever's here and what's in Rouge. Um,
Maybe ask it what themes are available in Rouge.
right. All right, let's try base 16. Oh yeah, I have to add the highlight class again.
Can you add that to the? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I sure hope I can. Okay. White background, that's what I was after. Okay. Now here's what I think I want to do. I'm going to kill these sample things, add this gem file. Okay. And I want to have a build script. I want to be able to go build and have it do a build and push. So at the end, it can do a git push. And before that, it can actually this might maybe that should be a Ruby script. Okay, and over here we can do this. Um, I don't know what to put here to make it. Actually, let me just do this. There. And then I can just do Ruby build.rb. Okay. Okay, and then I'll change my directory structure a little bit. Um, maybe I'll make a directory called content, and I'll move the index to there and the docs to there. Okay. Okay, and I want the build script to take the content from the content folder and basically compile it. And I'm asking myself as I'm doing this if this is stupid. Like, should I just use Jekyll? But my experience from using Jekyll last time was that it was like kind of good. It was like 90% of what I wanted, but it
But
was
then you
like,
had to put 90% effort to get the 10% more that you wanted,
yeah, it felt
kind of a
very
feeling.
compromised.
I think that's why I used the MK docs and I've stuck with it for a while. Like I've used it for a lot of things for work too. It probably has compromises as well, but the advantage is that people can write in markdown files for the most part and just works. And then you get like linting and stuff like that that's easy to implement.
Yeah. I'm gonna at least for a little bit keep going down this path and see where this gets me. Okay, so copy all files from, oh yeah, let's not call it content, let's call it source. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry, there's something in the chat. Oh, the Zoom thing went away. I don't know,
I
whoever
was just
just
saying
chatted, can
in
you just say the thing?
your hash bang, usually the default hash bang is user bin env space ruby.
Oh, I don't even know why that must have been left over from before because since it's .rb, it's not needed anymore.
Yeah, if you're gonna keep going down the RB path, yeah.
Okay. Whoa, this is getting crazy. Okay, so let's see what that gets us. Whoops.
I have to make this. I don't know. Okay.
Um, okay, so I think I made a mistake. Yeah, I have a nested folder here from before. Okay, move SRC content star to SRC. Okay, and I want this to remove everything. Remove. Yeah, sure. Okay, great. And then we can do a git push. Well, maybe I'll let that be manual. Yes. Oh, I forgot to commit like any of this stuff. Okay. Okay. And that's going to mess up the website, of course, because now it's not located in the same spot. Oops. Um, so I think I can go to the settings. And was there not like a directory setting
I
here?
don't think so. I think it just, my understanding is it just takes the whole tree from that branch. And in some cases, you select a branch called, I think, GH pages. And
Oh,
you
okay.
would, instead of doing what you did, copying it to another directory, that's part of your build is you do the copy because you may do some other things in there for compiling.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take that and you uh, push it to the GH pages branch, just that directory as a like a disconnected head, or not a disconnected head. It's not the right way of saying it, but it's like a different tree
Okay.
from the rest of your commits.
Well, apparently the changes haven't been taken up yet because the site still works. I'm gonna wait until it breaks to fix it.
You should be able to get to it though this way by just going to slash dist.
Yeah. Um,
But it's
okay.
not like optimal because then all your source will be there too.
Yeah. Um, okay. So now I want to make it so that it compiles each file. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to say go through the files in SRC for each one, compile it with Rouge and write it to dist. Yeah. All right. So let's see how well this does. And we don't want RB, we want HTML.
Then you don't need the G sub in line 10.
Um,
Sorry, the second G sub.
okay. Um, sorry, I'm confused. I'm gonna do.
Because you're only getting
Uh-huh.
HTML files. You don't need to do the G sub for converting .rb to .html in the
Oh,
file
by
name.
second G sub, you meant this one?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, and this is already getting hard to understand, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say source dir equals that. Um, sure. Mhm.
It looked like it made it more complicated, honestly, but okay, I get it. At
Um,
least now you only have to say it once, define it once.
and okay. All right. So this is like not what I want.
Are you against using something like rake for this? Because I think this is like the rake use case, right? Like a make kind of a situation.
Hmm. Okay. That did not occur to me. Um,
But then you have to install rake. Where here you're not installing anything, I guess, so far.
oh yeah, and there's a tool Thor that I've used that before and that was nice. Task compile HTML. All right, this is too much at once. Here's a question.
Oh
How
yeah,
do
it's
I,
like doing all the rouge stuff as well, which we weren't doing.
James, it's pronounced Rouge.
Sorry.
Um, okay, let's forget like iterating through the whole directory and stuff like that. Um, how do we how do we compile just one file? So let's do that.
I
Let's
think that's like the problem with what you asked ChatGPT and why it gave you a complicated rake thing instead of a simple rake thing.
yeah, I'm gonna do this. Documentation file.rb class documentation file. Okay, and I'm gonna do this compile.rb. Um, File name equals rv0, yes. Require documentation file.
Do you require relative?
Oh, good thinking. Okay. Okay, wonderful. That is what I want. Okay, but something's wrong. Oh yeah, I need to give it a file name. Okay. And what if I do this? Puts documentation file dot content. Okay. So it's doing that. And what I want now is for it to replace everything in fences with Rouge stuff. Man, this is more complicated than I thought. Yes, this is more complicated than I thought. And is it worth it? I think maybe it is worth it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going, but only for a few more minutes today because we're almost at the 1 hour mark. Okay, and as always, I think I want to test drive this because that's the way I like to do it. Okay.
You're going to require the code for documentation file.
Oh yeah, good point. No, that's not it. Okay. Then that's of course not going to work. Oh, I forget the RDoc syntax. Yeah, there we go.
That's it.
Um, sure, we'll do that. Sure. And then let's do another one of like Python. Okay, let's do this. Here is some Ruby. Here's some Python. Okay, now we want to actually expect something. Okay, let's do this. Expect documentation file dot um let's see. I think I wanted to like
Content.
I think I wanted to parse the code fences.
So the can we take a step back for 1 second? And
Yeah.
this is going to be how you compile your documentation going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what is the format of the source? Is it like that?
That's
I
a
don't quite
great question
understand.
because right now it's like a weird mix of HTML and Markdown.
Yeah. And like I'm kind of curious as to what we're doing because I don't understand what the source is.
Yeah, great question. Maybe it should be something more like this.
And then is the point of this to add the rouge highlighting?
Exactly. Yeah, and then maybe we could do something like this. Yeah. Okay, and then obviously that will fail because undefined method code blocks. Okay, undefined method that for nil. Okay, so what was it going to give me here? It's going to give me too much stuff. We don't need this. Okay, but let's see what this does. Okay, uninitialized constant code block. Okay, so we'll have to do require relative code block. Okay, wrong number of arguments. Um, yeah, so what's it expecting? What's it wanting to do here? Language and content. Okay. Okay, undefined method content. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Just to add a reader.
I'm confused.
what
Oh, it's just not stripping the new lines from before and after.
strip new lines?
I thought
I
so,
don't
but I could be
remember.
wrong. Oh yeah.
No, I just use it. I guess it strips all white space. I usually think of it in terms of spaces.
Okay. And by now is our site not working? It's still working, which is a little mysterious to me, but I
Oh,
will.
hold on. Go back to your site. I think you do you have the right path? Because you
Um,
remember we put it in dist.
right. What I'm saying is I have the wrong path, but it still works.
Well, probably because those files are still there. You didn't take them out.
Let's see. No, I'm curious if I go to website slash gem file, does that work? No? Oh, now it's
Oh,
not.
no.
Okay. Okay. Some
Ah,
kind of
there we
caching
go.
thing, apparently. Okay. My wife just texted me to wrap it up. So I shall do that.
I'd offer to arm wrestle her for more of your time, but I know I'd lose.
Okay, let's leave a loose end hanging before we go. So, where do we want to take this next? Hmm.
I think adding a render maybe to the code block.
Yeah. Okay, so then we can go spec code block spec. Okay, we can say describe render. Okay, and it almost has the right idea. Expect a syntax highlighted code block.
Whatever that is.
Okay,
Okay,
and it's
let's,
it's failing on that, but okay. I might have to hand code that, but this seems
well,
like a
no,
good.
just take what it offered and run the test and see what it actually returns. Of course, you got to do render first, I guess, but it's render.
um,
But anyway, that's what I would have done.
use Rouge to render the code block. There we go. Will this give me something meaningful? Okay. Well, I'm getting in more and more trouble as the minutes tick by. So I better go. But thanks, guys, for coming, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah.